Welcome to the Richard Sherman podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel to get more content. We coming at you 2 times a week. Subscribe now. Welcome back to the Richard Sherman podcast. This time we got one of my favorite guys, Kenneth Wright Jr., KJ Wright.
Yes,
I'm the only one that call you Ken, so I guess that ain't for everybody. So how's the transition going for you? You know, you recently retired. You know, are you doing what you want to do now? Do you have big plans in the future? Like, you going to do the podcast? I see you got a podcast of your own. You going to do radio? You might do a little TV.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I'm going to do a little pre and post game with do some Seahawks game this year. See how I do in front of the camera. But this radio thing is really fun, man. Just to see the people. They tweet me every Wednesday. KJ, I love your insight. You really take us into the locker room. You explain things so clear. So that's what the fans need, man. They really need somebody that's been there, that's done that can explain it so they can love the game that much more.
Speaking of the Seahawks locker room, how you feeling about their season so far? You surprised? Were you expecting more? Are you expecting less?
Yeah, I expected them to beat Denver. I truly expected it. I knew that they would have all the 70,000 fans there. Everybody excited. Russ coming back into town. I had the Seahawks winning that game, and when they won that game, Sherman, I was like, "Oh my God!" They thought they won the Super Bowl.
Hey, they prepared for it like that.
They prepared like that. They thought they won the Super Bowl, and I saw that loss coming to San Fran because you just can't make the game bigger than what it is. And Coach Carroll preached, don't make this game bigger than what it is. Every game's a championship opportunity. But they were super, super happy, overexcited to get, you get a win, that's good. But hey, let's hit the reset button. We got the Niners coming into town. So got that L, got kicked in them, and they needed that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them emotional games, and you know how that goes sometimes. We used to have them with the Niners sometimes. Or you had those road victories where you just gave it everything, and then you end up in a dogfight with somebody you don't expect to be in a dogfight with.
But here's the thing: Coach Carroll has been there; he's done that. You gotta preach that message to the fellas. Say, fellas, this game isn't about Russ. This isn't the Super Bowl. This is a championship opportunity, just like it always is. So you got to preach that message to the fellas, and so they could refocus, get back, get the game plan going, and have another victory that next Sunday.
But I'm very excited for Tariq and Mike Jackson. Both of them been playing really well. Tariq with the field goal block, Mike Jack with the recovery and return. Huge things. I'm sure Pete is really excited about those guys. There's a lot of question marks at the corner spot, and they've really shown up. Obviously, there's concern about Pete saying, hey, we're going to try a few shots to DK from now on. When the one shot he got last week, he went up and got it. Yeah. And then you just don't do it again. You just hand it to the running back and let him throw. Like it was kind of iffy.
Yeah, that play, man. I'm looking at the play. I'm cool with the play call, but you need a guy back there that can make a really good decision. DJ Dallas, Vincent not there. If they're double covered, throw the ball out of bounds.
Right.
Throw the ball out of bounds. And so you just see that it's a lot of learning curves that they got to make happen this year. If Geno's your guy, trust Geno to make the decisions. And so it's a lot of things they got to learn, a lot of things they got to get better at. And so I believe this Sunday it should be way better going against the Falcons.
Who are you most surprised by and most impressed by so far from the Seahawks?
I talked to Shed before the game. I was like, all right, Shed, who's starting that corner? He's like, my boy Tariq. And he said Mike Jack. And he was like, I heard about Mike Jack in the preseason, but he said Mike Jack has done well in every practice, preseason, and he shows up on game day. And I saw that man these first 2 games. He's looking really good.
He is, and he just like Malcolm used to be. He always seemed to be where the ball is at. They had 2 forced fumbles on the goal line against the Broncos, and he recovered both of them.
Both of them.
Then they block a field goal, and guess who?
Mike Jack. and so, man, for him to, I'm not sure where he was last year, but for him to come in here, earn a spot, take a spot, don't look back, young man. Just keep this thing going, keep building. Coach Carroll, he go create this thing to where if you're the best player, you go be on the field. So I'm really looking forward to see them 2 guys. The foundation is set. I'm really looking forward to them guys.
And they got some depth. They're going to keep getting better. But let's talk about the rest of the league. Who else in the league has been a surprise to you so far? It's only been 2 games, but it's been some chaos so far within this league.
Man, my Raiders. Oh, my God.
The Raiders.
I picked the Raiders to win the division. I went on NFL Network. I said, hey, the Raiders about to be number 1 in this division. And I just look at them, and it starts with my guy, Derek Carr. DC, you got the weapons. You got Devontae. You got Hunter. You got the run game. Just go out there and simply make it happen. And so for them guys to start off 0-2 to blow that lead last week to Arizona, you already in the tough division. If you up by 15 points in the fourth quarter, you got to seal that deal. So rough start for my boys. So we'll see.
I mean, that's true. That's the toughest division in football right now. And you got to deal with the Chargers. You got to deal with the Chiefs. And I had the Chargers winning that division, but I was there when they played the Chiefs last week. And the killer instinct, they got to develop it because they had them boys. They were beating them. They had them yardage wise. It looked like they were in control of the game, but it was only a 3-point game at halftime. Mm-hmm. So I knew champions just don't bow out like that. Yeah. You don't just get to the Super Bowl and the AFC championships every year by just bowing out every time you getting outplayed. And they came back, lo and behold, made a few plays. A rookie 7th-round pick who I said will be the difference maker in the game. If he had a rough game, they were going to lose this game. And he gets a 99-yard pick six. Lo and behold, here we go.
And Sherman, I was talking to Me-Bang yesterday. Me-Bang was with the Chargers. He's like, man, we got all the talent, got all the weapons. We could just find a way to finish better. Just finish the games. We got everything we need. You got 2 great pass rushers, future Hall of Fame quarterback. Just find a way to finish these games because they got the talent, but the mentality got to get better. They want to win that division.
Mentality got to be so much better. And Asante Samuel Jr. played a really great game, a fantastic game by all accounts. But there were 2 or 3 plays where he could have made great plays, where he could have made game-changing plays, and he dropped them both. And those are the plays where you're like, hey, that's the hump. You got to get over it. But look at the Dolphins. Tua.
Hey, I don't want nobody to jump on Tua's bandwagon. I'm the only one. I'm the only one that had Tua back this offseason. Everybody was bashing him. He don't got the arm strength. He's a mental midget. He don't know how to get the ball to Tyreek or Water. Look at him now. Look at him now. Man.
Look at him now.
I'm just super happy for him. He just need for him. Hey, don't people gonna start jumping on the bandwagon, happy you up, patting you on the back. Nah, keep that same energy y'all had for me this offseason. And so, man, I'm super happy for him. They get that new head coach, Mike McDaniels. He spent time with Shanahan, so the man know what he's doing. So them boys just getting started over there in Miami.
Okay. I see you. I was not on the Tua bandwagon. He was throwing for 90 yards a game at some points last year. I'm not quick to just jump on that. Yeah. But right now, he's leading the league in passing yards over the first 2 weeks, I believe. And, you got to give him credit where credit's due. Tyreek said, hey, he's the best deep ball thrower in the National Football League. And lo and behold, in that fourth quarter, bombs.
Yeah. And they ain't even got the run game going like they usually have. You get Edmonds going, you get Mostert going, they gonna be even better. And so Miami, they just put together a really good team, offense and defense. And so it's gonna be them against the Bills who wins that division.
Well, we talking to right now, since 2011, Ken, you are 5th in the National Football League in tackles behind Bob and Levante, who never get enough credit. Levante David never gets enough credit. And you got Keekly, names like that. And then you got my boy Ken. What about the linebacker play right now in the National Football League? Tell me what you were impressed by and what you like. Hey, because I see a lot of 3 getting run, and I see a lot of people not picking up the over.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's just start in Seattle. Let's start with Seattle with Jordan Brooks. He's a guy that Bobby's first ballot Hall of Famer. You start with Jordan Brooks. He's a guy that I love, has all the physical capabilities, makes a lot of tackles. So I'm really looking forward to him having that game-changing moment, having that where I'm going to get a PBU, or I'm going to go blitz me, let me get a sack, because he got all the physical tools. I need Coach Hurt to get him going more. You can't just sit there and have him just taking on blocks, left and right, just doing a thing like that. And so he has the physical capabilities, but when you replace a Bobby, when you step in those shoes, I need you to make those game-changing plays.
Yeah, you got to make those game-changing plays. You got to make a play. Because right now, Cody Barton is looking like the guy. Cody is sitting there looking like he learned from Kenny. Come on now. You ain't running no screen.
He look like the screen master.
The screen master.
Yeah, man. So
and he's blitzing. He's making a difference.
Yeah, and so Brooks, he has the tools. He has the talent. I need Coach Hurt to call his name a little more. Hey, call him. Get him going early in the game to get him started. And so, first 2 games, he's making his tackles. I need him to make those plays to really help his defense take the next step forward.
There are some outstanding play callers right now, Ken, and some really good defenses. But I don't know if they really messing with the defense we put out there, Ken. And everybody says, they're like, what were you guys doing? And, everybody was like, hey, cover 3 is just so easy. Like, everybody can run that and have elite players. What do you think was the great differentiator between what we did and what everybody else is doing? Because the coverage is the same.
Because what happened, Sherm, was we did it first, and people just started trying to copy it. But it wasn't. Atlanta did it, Jacksonville did it. It wasn't quite the same. You just look at us, man. And first of all, we just had a strong, tight knit brotherhood. Like, man, we was boys. We all loved each other. We had each other backs. And when you turned on that tape, man, we was all on our responsibilities. And what I loved about it, my favorite game is obviously the Super Bowl. But you watch us, Sherm, we moved like this. Everybody was tied on the string, and we were so connected, so dialed in, so fast. You could not mess with us for about 4, 5, 6 years.
Right.
And so when you talk about the greatest, you got the Ravens in there, you got the Bears, but of this generation, it's not even close.
It can't be close. It can't be close.
It's not even conversation.
It can't be. Like, when they have the conversation starts, and you're like, well, then put the stats up. And then they can't put the stats up. And you're like, well, put something up to make it an argument, because it ain't really no numbers that's really making this argument for you, against what we're saying. But I think right now, man, everybody's running 6 and quarters and trying to run that too high shell. And that's why you're seeing teams kind of go back to the run game, because everything happens in cycles.
Yep.
Everything happens in cycles. But, right now, I think the best play callers are obviously Andy Reid, Shanahan. McVay is always coming up with some cool stuff, but it's in the Shanahan tree. Buffalo right now, Ken Dorsey and Dabo. Like, how's it that easy?
I have no idea. It's like when I played the Chiefs, but the Chiefs offense is probably, between them and Shanahan, hands down the hardest offense I've been against. These fools, they drop plays in the dirt. Like, you at the playground. Hey, you do this, you do that. And it's wide open.
Right.
It's just so hard to stop them. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best. Take it back to when he was in Atlanta. He drew up the OVS with the running back at the backfield. I'm like, oof, man, how did you even think? How do you even think of this, dude? And so, man, it's just the offense making it look real easy, man. But defense always win games, man. I truly believe that defense win these games, and so we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, defense gonna win a championship. Right now, some of these offensive lines are looking really suspect right now, and they making it real easy because these are competitors. These are teams that are contenders. Tampa Bay, really a contender. Banged up offensive line. Freaking Dallas was a contender.
Yeah.
And they, now Cooper Rush played well. Still, banged up offensive line.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Rams.
Yeah, Cincinnati paid the offensive line. They can't stop a nosebleed over there.
They can't stop a nosebleed. and Lyle Callens was like, you got a new bodyguard in town. You won't get touched. Well, you need to get a refund right now because he getting touched. He getting touched up.
Let me get that signing bonus back, my boy.
Right. Let me get a little, a little piece of that, because right now I done got touched up. If I'm Burrows, I'm sitting there. But some of it is on Burrows. Joe Burrow's got to get the ball out. Like, you're trying to be cute. You're trying to protect your completion percentage and things like that. Let all that go. You see somebody in the flat, wide open, let the ball go there.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a hot read, let the ball go. Stop trying to get big chunk shots all the time. You can't always do that.
Because you got the 3 receivers over there. They super talented, but you, Burrow, got to get yourself going. Because right now, you in a slump. You're in a slump, and defense is after you. They saying, this man holding the ball, trying to get the ball downfield. They just go play high, get the 5-yard check down, let them do their thing. And so he in a slump right now, but I know this dude. I know his character. I know his makeup. He should get out of it.
Jimmy G, Ken. Jimmy G. Like, the 49ers dealt with all this. Trey Lance, and prayers up to the kid. He just got the surgery. Hope it goes really well. He's going to be healthy next season, and that's going to be another conversation for the offseason. I'm sure the offseason is going to be dominated by that conversation again. But are the 49ers a better team with Jimmy G at quarterback, or do you think they would have been better, like they just got worse when Trey Lance got injured?
Man, I was looking at Jimmy G. The whole situation bothered me. First of all, if you go have Trey Lance as your guy, if Trey Lance is your guy, you cannot have the backup quarterback behind him that's better than the starting quarterback, because your teammates looking at him like, hey, coach, I know you traded up to get this man, but he's not ready. And this team is ready to win a Super Bowl right now. We don't have time to develop and groom this quarterback. We need to win. And so if he's your guy, then Jimmy G needs to be out the building. And so if Trey Lance would have been that guy for 17 plus games, I don't think they get 9, 10 wins. But now that Jimmy G has entered the conversation, he's the starting guy. I think they're the second best team in the NFC West, and so they're gonna be in the playoffs. They're gonna find a way to get to the NFC Championship, and so they're a much better team with Jimmy G at the quarterback.
Who's the best team in the NFC West?
Oh, it's Rams.
Yeah, Ken, Ken,
No,
Ken.
we're
Now,
not gonna go there.
it can't.
It's the
Well,
Rams, man.
we're not going. It's the Rams. It can't. Explain to me why it's the Rams. Because they offensive line right now, Ken. If you go by that game against the Bills, they got some issues.
I mean, anytime you face Von Miller, it's gonna be rough. But you just look at them, reigning Super Bowl champs. I need them to get Allen Robinson going. I don't know what's going on with that, but teams they gonna start dialing in on Cooper Kupp. Hey, we ain't gonna let Kupp beat us. Let's make Matthew Stafford beat us with Robinson or Higbee. But if they don't get that figured out, it could get a little scary for those guys. But 3 Hall of Famers on defense. You got Ramsey, you got Bobby, AD. I love Floyd off the edge. So talented team. They gonna get things figured out. 11 plus wins.
I'm with you everywhere but the offensive line. Cooper Kupp got 244 targets last year, and still they couldn't get him stopped. And he led the league in every category, Triple Crown. But if you can't get it, they do not have Andrew Whitworth securing that left side anymore. Havenstein is on the right side. Noteboom is on the left side. Neither one of the sides are secure. So it ain't like you can slide one way or the other. And every team don't got Von Miller. But boy, are there still some dogs out there, Ken.
I know. And McVay, he's a mastermind. He's a guru. Hey, find a way to get this guy on some boots. Find a way to max protect, because you got the talent at the skill position. But if you don't protect Matt Stafford, you got the Niners, all these teams coming. So it could get a little scary for these guys.
It could get really scary. So, Ken, who is the best? Because you told me who the best play callers are. Who was probably the best running back you had gone against where you're like, man, this is going to be a long day. I got to get on my P's and Q's. And
man, I tell everybody this. Freaking Michael Turner.
Michael Turner. I like it.
The man has thighs the size of watermelons.
Yes.
Every time I grabbed him, I just fell right off him. I never felt devastated playing anybody. I never felt helpless. When I tried to tackle this man, I did not stand a chance. And so the man was a beast. I thought Jamal Charles was somebody that was special. His balance was crazy. Him and Alvin Kamara had this crazy balance to where they just be gliding. They just be gliding. And so this man put about 150 yards on us when we went to Kansas City a few years ago. So these two dudes just special talents, man, and they always gave me trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they were tough to deal with. I remember we went to Kansas City one time, and boy, that was a long day for everybody. They got us every which way you can get got. They drew it up. But man, it's a crazy year right now. It's crazy year with some of the teams. I mean, you see what happened. Like, there's so many second half collapses right now. Second half collapses. Like, every week you can pretty much pin that it's going to be a second half collapse, whether it was the Titans-Giants game from the week 1 or even the Niners-Chicago game from week 1. Then this week you got the down 21 in the fourth, the Miami Dolphins.
Bro, the game that got me was the freaking Browns-Jets. Bro, here's the situation. Nick Chubb, quote, not supposed to score, right? First of all, who is the coach that's been like, hey, coach, tell Nick Chubb to get the first down but slide out of bounds?
Nobody.
That starts with the coach, first of all. But, hey, regardless, you up 13 points, under 2 minutes, no timeouts. How the hell you let somebody bomb the ball down and get an easy 7 points without 15 seconds? They scored quick.
Ken, you bust. And how is it going to happen on your premier, highest paid corner in the National Football League in cover 3, and then you get in the press conference later on, and the kid's like, that one wasn't on me. It's like, okay, I hear you. It looked like cover 3, looked like Phoenix check.
Yeah. And then you got the onside kick. They drive the ball down, they score again. That's just situational football. You practice that in OTAs. You practice that throughout the week. Just basic football that they just completely dropped the ball with that one.
Man, I don't like what people are saying about Chubb should have went down. Like, first off, ain't nobody ever practicing that. And second off, it's not like, hey, this is going to put us up 7. And like, okay, no, this putting you up 13. It's on everybody else at that point. Like, it's not on, hey, he should have kneeled the ball. Ain't no running back built to kneel the ball while going in, having a free shot to the end zone.
If a coach told him, hey, Chubb, hey, this is a situation. We need you to get the first, slide down. No one told him that.
Not right.
His mental is, I'm about to be up 14 points. Let me get in this end zone. The game is over.
Hindsight is always 20/20.
And nobody said about the extra point they missed either. And
listen to me.
I ain't heard nobody say nothing about this. So completely, man, let's start from the top. It goes all the way down. The media is so funny, man, how they just choose to direct attention here. Oh, where does it really start? It starts with the damn coaches. That's where it
Right.
starts. And so you up 14 with 2 minutes left, defense, win the game.
And then it starts with execution. Like, hold people accountable. You cannot give up a bomb of a touchdown and then after the game say, I was on somebody else. Like, I hear you, cool. Like, but then somebody explain to me what coverage they was in. Because if it's not on Ward, then maybe Joe Woods needs to come out and say, hey, we were in here, we missed a check. We got to figure out how to correct that, how to signal or something. Because right now, it's not looking good. And that's multiple times. Like they were running Reno last week against the Carolina Panthers and gave up a big post when it's like, hey, the corner and the safety should be doubling, teaming the post. The other safety is outside of 2. If he runs out, that safety got him. Corner and safety double 2.
Hey, Sherman, you know what's crazy? That game gave me flashbacks. You know what it gave me flashbacks of? When Cam Newton came into town. We was up 9 in the fourth quarter.
Oh.
Hey, half the defense was playing cover 2, the other half was cover 3. And I'm sitting there like, how in the world?
And he threw it to Greg Olsen.
Is this man wide open? To this day, I don't even know what the right call was.
What they signaled was 2.
Okay, and what was called was probably 3.
3, right.
Man, I'm sitting there looking. We had the game. We was up by 9. We was up by like 9-10. They made a touchdown. I look, we up by 4. I'm like, man, what the?
And we looking like the bad news bears
and
out
we
there.
Had all the fellas. It was me. It was you, Earl, Cam. We was all out there.
We was there.
And I'm looking. I was like, oh my God, it happens. It happens to the best of them.
It does. It does. But Ken, it cannot happen right there. Like, it don't happen too often. And they got to find a way to make a play. And hopefully they get it corrected because this week we got them and it's Thursday Night Football. So I'm going to be in Cleveland.
Who do you have? Is Cleveland Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. I just can't bet with Mitchell Trubisky right now. I just cannot. Unless they go to Pickett, then I think Pittsburgh is going to win this game. But right now, Trubisky's playing too conservative. I don't know if it's the play calling or if it's him, but they got 3 really good receivers. All preseason, we're hearing about Pickens, a great draft pick. Oh my God, he's a steal where they got him. He's going to be the next great receiver. And then you look up in the game, he got 1 catch.
This going to be a make or break game for Trubisky.
No question.
Because you look at the last game, defense got you how many? They got about 4 picks, 7 sacks. We handed you the game and they almost dropped it.
Right.
And so it's gonna be make or break for him. The man can play, but just go drop, let him hang. Just go make it happen.
Right. Let him hang, take some shots. You got big play receivers. Let me see the big play receivers. You played Deontay Johnson this money. Let me see his speed. Like right now, that seems to be what's holding him back. And it's kind of like the 49ers situation where you're like, hey, Pickett isn't ready, but y'all don't have Jimmy G. Like Trubisky ain't Jimmy G. For all his shortcomings and what people say, his cons and things he can't do well, Jimmy G is a good quarterback in the National Football League. He would get more out of this offense. And I think that's what that's concerning because they're not using the talent they got.
Yeah, and you TJ Watt gets hurt. You need that extra boost from somewhere. Where's the extra boost going to come from on this team? If it's the quarterback spot, we need a spark of energy to get us going. Because Mike Tomlin, the man is phenomenal coach. He's a phenomenal coach, but you need that extra spark because the season is early and you don't want to get behind the 8 ball. You know, you got talent, but you're not that good to get behind the 8 ball to make that comeback. And so we're going to see how Thursday night plays off, but it's really make a break for Trubisky.
It really is. And Alex Highsmith had a great game week 1, had 3 sacks and had nothing week 2. They're going to need more out of the whole D-line. Cam Hayward is going to need to step up. He's been playing freaking amazing his whole career. This is one of those moments where you're like, hey, Cam Hayward, bring him home. And in the secondary, Minkah Fitzpatrick. I don't care how everybody else playing. He playing like a dog.
Yep, been a dog. And so you got Miles Jack, you got Bush at linebackers, 2 dudes that got experience in this league. Hey, man, we need you guys to step up. We need you guys to blitz. We need you guys to make plays. Because we got the talent, but until TJ gets back, dude's got to make it happen. You know, so when he comes back, he can make it happen for us.
So, Ken, we haven't talked about it. We rarely ever talk about it publicly for obvious reasons. But people have so many questions about the Russ situation in Seattle. And what happened there? Was he getting preferential treatment? Was he getting treated better? How valuable was he to the team? Like, was he the best player? How was the communication? So tell me your perspective of the whole deal.
Early on, we talked about accountability. Accountability. This is what I said about Russ. Russ, he was young, quarterback, growing into himself. he was not held to the same accountability as the rest of us. That's just facts.
Right.
That's just facts. And so when I looked at our team, guys were upset, like, hey man, we just did our thing, we did this and that. You bashing the defense. I need you to at least mention his name in the team meeting room. Can I at least get that? And so when you talk about accountability in the early years, no. As he grew, as he got older, Coach Carroll did do a better job in addressing things. Hey, Russ, you threw this amount of picks, you got to get better. And so in his early years, it was quiet with it. But as Russ grew, the accountability definitely improved by Coach Carroll.
It had to, because like you said early on, it was like, hey, but there wasn't enough years difference, for the accountability thing to be like that. That's what I tell people. They're like, well, he was young. It's like, well, again, he was a year younger than us. Like, he ain't that young, kid. It ain't no baby now.
Yeah.
And so when you got 52 guys being held to a certain standard, you got one guy not being held to the standard, then it's going to cause some friction no matter what.
Yeah.
No, and the longer you do it, the longer the friction's going to go. It is what it is. That's just human nature. Like, hey, you're saying these all pros better play like all pros. And then you're like, this guy's okay. We'll deal with it.
And I think if Coach Carroll could go back and do it, I think he would have did it, because any man, any grown man with any substance, any man with anything to him, he wants to be held accountable. Hey, let me know what I messed up on, Coach. And so Coach Carroll, I don't know why he did that, but I believe that if he did do that to Russ wouldn't have had any problem with, hey, hold me accountable. I messed up. I got to get better.
Right. But at the end of the day, that's how he handled it. And then things soured there, because at that, after a while, it had to get to the point where he chose Russ or the defense. And after the Super Bowl loss, he kind of made it pretty clear who he was choosing.
Yeah. I mean, if I believe when you look at the general manager, which direction do I go? And I believe that you got to have a franchise quarterback. You got to have a franchise quarterback. And so they chose to go in this direction. They invested in them. Guys started leaving. Like, damn, guys leaving, and guys started leaving. So they put a lot on his plate to make it happen. They put a whole lot on his plate to make it happen. I believe that's when he made a comment. He said, I feel like I don't have to put the team on my back. I feel like I don't have to put the team on my back. I feel like in his later years, I feel like Russ had more pressure and he felt more of a responsibility to do that.
Right. And that's what happens when they made that decision. They put that pressure on it. We chose the quarterback. We didn't choose the Legion of Boom. We didn't choose the great defense. We chose the quarterback. So now it's on the quarterback to make this thing work. And when it didn't work, I think it was pressure on all sides. And then you saw the breakup, and then you hear the truth from Pete for the first time, after the game.
Coach Carroll is funny.
He is funny.
He is funny. You went 10 years just keeping everything tight in the locker room. Let's keep it tight. As soon as this man leaves, you let it all air out. I was like, wow.
Well, I guess you only protect the team when you own the team, kid.
Exactly. He let the narrative out. And this is narrative that's in Seattle that, like, when he came back in the building, the man got booed. People not happy with him. Like, I know for Russ, that had to sting. Like, you just gave this city your everything. And you come back and don't get a warm welcome. When you came back, it was all good. When Bobby come back, it's going to be all good. Golden Tate came back, it's cool. But it's just this narrative like, man, you are the villain. We don't mess with you. Good luck in Denver.
It was tough, because there was a few times Russ said some things in interviews where he's like, I just wanted to go to a city that wanted to win. And you know how Seattle say, yes, he did. Yes, he did. That's part of the reason why they booed him. It wasn't just the breakup. The breakups happen. The fans understand it's a business. But then he said some things about him wanting to go to a city that wanted to win and things like that, kid, that they took personal. They took the 12s taking it direct.
Yeah, and I look at Russ. I think Russ would even admit this as well. I believe that at the end of the day, with football, with Hall of Fame, Super Bowl, I believe that a part that Russ wishes he would have got better is just the connection with his boys, the brotherhood, the teammate. Because no matter what, if we got your back, it's all good. But I felt like he was so focused on this, focused on that he kind of missed that connection with his boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no question.
That's just the unfortunate part about the whole thing, man. Is that your focus got to be on your boys first, and that everything else will take care of itself.
Right, and that's how it was with the rest of us. That's why we're still close. That's why we still live in Seattle. That's why we still talk to this day. And that's the unfortunate part. But hopefully he can make those connections out there in Denver and have that kind of, you
Yeah.
learn. As you get older, you learn to, hey, what I did well, what I didn't do well, and you correct it. But now everybody killing him about the run pass thing. And I'm like, come on now. Y'all gonna kill him for that?
I'm like, Russ, I was like, Russ, why are you screaming so loud? It's like, let them know, let them know. I'm like, bro, relax. Like, this is the NFL. I think they could tell if it's a run or pass. Pop Warner, you do that high school, cool. But he was like, let them know, let them know. Like, okay, all right.
I think it's one of those situations. He just wanted it so bad. It was that game. It was that he had to get Pete. Like you said, it meant a lot to Pete.
Yeah.
That game meant a lot to Pete.
Yeah.
That game was a defining moment for Pete. Like, they can go up and down the whole season. They got players to develop. They got things to do. They got things to accomplish. But for him getting that win, that was huge.
So when you talk about who won the breakup between Russ and Coach Carroll, it's clearly Coach Carroll. He got the win. He got the city on his back. He got the former players coming to the game, raising the flag, and then the city, and then it's just Russ. And so hopefully Russ can just start from square one, build a relationship with your boys, man. It's all about the brotherhood, so people have your back when adversity does strike.
Yeah, I mean, it's a forgiving place, though. I'm sure he'll play out his career, come back to Seattle. They'll put his jersey in a ring of honor and do all that, and the fans will cheer for him. But right now, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
We gonna see. That's for sure. We gonna see, kid.
And he in Denver now, man. I look at his struggles these first 2 weeks. Bro, you got a dog at running back in Javonte Williams. He averaging about 5-6 yards a carry. But I'm looking, he hasn't even had over 20 carries yet. Russ, you are very good. You are very good. If you get this man the ball more, you will be even better. It will open up so much more for you.
But is that on Russ or is that on Hackett? That's the question that everybody's asking. Like, is that on the quarterback or is that on the play caller? Because you paid the quarterback all this money. You gotta give him the ball.
Man, you gotta win. You gotta win. Forget all that. The GM's like, hey, I'm trying to win ball games. And so if you get this man, let him get 100 yards, 20 plus carries. It'll open up stuff for Sutton. It'll open up stuff for Judy, and then you have a better chance to win these games because they're struggling right now.
They're struggling. That was a dogfight against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, so he should have, on paper, he should have won these first 2 games. Didn't go his way, and so I believe that they got to get back to the drawing board. Hey, let's get Javonte Williams the ball. Let him go in the ball. And it'll open up so much more for me.
Yeah, it would. Kyle Shanahan has a stat like if they run the ball 30 times in a game, they win the game. Like, I don't know if it's like 80% of the time. So he try to always get 30 runs in a game, and he knows he can get a W.
Yeah, we had a stat too. It was like 20 carries, 20 completions. I believe that's what we had. Your chances go way higher to win ball games. So, man, Russ know that. Man, you know the formula to winning. You gotta go out there and get it done.
Right, and the best defense is what?
Hold up.
It's a great run game, Ken.
Oh,
because it's less time on the clock. Okay. You run the clock.
I forgot that one.
Yeah, I never forget it because I remember so many times us watching Marshawn and just chilling on the sideline like, hey, get him, Sean.
Yep. Go make it happen.
Go make it happen. Shoot, because the longer they out there, the shorter we out there. And, it's a lot different game when you playing defense for 24, 25 minutes versus 36 minutes.
Exactly. So he know the formula, man. We see how it all plays out.
I appreciate you, Ken. I'll catch you on next time. Tell the family I said hello.
I will, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you.